Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us read from the verse number 20. Kamaistaistairhritajnanaha prapadyante devataha tam tam niyamamasthaya prakritya niyata svaya yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayarchitamicchate tasya tasyachalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. So here Lord Krishna, the question was asked. Earlier verse said that my devotees see me, Vasudeva Sarvam, that all that is Vasudeva, including the self. So what's the reason why everybody is not able to have this vision? Because Vasudeva alone is, and that is the very self. And so Lord Krishna said that because the mind of the people is distracted. If the mind is upon the self, upon Vasudeva, then they can see in course of time. But the mind of these people is distracted. Taihi hritajnanaha. Those whose discrimination is robbed away by their different desires. What is description? Discrimination, that what I am seeking is myself. What is the desire behind all the desires is that I want everything. It cannot be that I can be satisfied with one single thing or one small thing. Even though my mind desires a small thing at a time, poor thing does not know what it wants. My mind does not know what it wants. But what it wants What is limitless? There was no need to be told. What I find myself to be is also limited, and what I see everything also is limited. If seeing myself as limited did not pose any problem in my life, then that is quite all right. There are many delusions in our life. There are many things we may know wrongly which don't matter to us. That's okay. We all thought that sun was rising, sun was setting, sun was starting east to west. That did not pose any problem in our life, even though that was not right. But unfortunately, not knowing this causes all problems in our life. In reality, Vasudeva, limitlessness is my nature, is your nature, nature of everything. Just as a lot of treasures underneath there. Ornaments seem to be gone. But anyway, what this is clay, in fact. In a small little name and form, what this is clay. And what that also is clay, in different form, different shape, different use. So this is what the Vedanta is teaching, is what is Ishvara. What is limitless, manifest in all these different names and forms, and that is your nature. You are manifest in all the different names and forms. Seems to be unbelievable, seems to be something that we cannot swallow. Swami, how can that be? Because I am so much used to looking upon myself as a small, helpless little creature that I can be limitless is something that I can't even imagine. And therefore, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, let that be the goal. Right now it is not my knowledge, not my experience. But if it makes sense to me, does it make sense to accept that what appears before me as all these names and forms, all diversity, is one? Like various pots and pans appearing before me in different forms and names are all clay. So also this body-mind sense complex, in fact, is only a seat for manifestation of the limitless consciousness. Upanishad says, Bhagavan Martyam Vaidam Shariram. There, the teacher Prajapati says to Indra, Hey Bhagavan, hey Indra, this body indeed is mortal. This body, mind, sense complex is mortal, no doubt about that. Tadasya asharirasya atmanah adhishthanam. But that is this place of manifestation of the self, which is bodiless, which is limitless. This limited body is the place of the seat of manifestation of the limitless self. So the body comes and goes, but that's something that does not come and go. This is the truth that these scriptures are all the time trying to point out to us. If we do understand that, if that does make sense to us, that the I who takes myself to be a small little creature, that I am limitless in nature, how can it be, Swamiji? Because Ask yourself, what do you love? You'll find that what you love is the limitless. I love to be free from all limitations. I have a problem with myself when I see myself a limited being. I'm happy at a given moment when I find myself free from all limitation. There are moments. There are moments when I forget myself. In that experience of happiness or ecstasy, there are moments that I forget myself. At that time I do experience the limitlessness experience. Not that limitlessness is never experienced by us. There are moments, not many, when there is an ecstatic experience when I forget myself. And therefore, that this limited body also is a seat of manifestation of the limitless. And that is my essential nature. That's the essential nature of every name and form. If this makes sense, and why? Because that is what I'm seeking, the desire behind all the desire. Since the desire to be limitless, because I can't accept myself as a limited being. Whenever I see myself as a limited being, I don't like myself, not happy with myself. So if we even analyze what it is that we are seeking in life, we'll find that what we are seeking is freedom from all limitations. That we are seeking the limitless, that's what we are seeking. Whenever I see myself limited being, I feel unhappy with myself. If that is clear, then Swamiji, how are so many things that are all manifested in one, many ornaments manifested in one gold, many also, or many waves manifestation of one water. They're all names and forms manifested of one Vasudeva. If that makes sense. So first of all, we have to analyze, look into this, and deliberate on this. And that what I am seeking also is limitlessness. That what is if that makes sense, then that can become my objective. Then I can be devoted or committed to achieving that objective. That's called a bhakta. And that then I arrange my life also in accordance with that objective. My values, my attitudes, everything is all organized in keeping with that goal. That the means should be in keeping with the end. That's how dharma comes in my life, that's how karma yoga comes in my life, that's how I become a contributor rather than a consumer. All these values and attitudes come. And I find that slowly my own mind, which was an obstacle, starts becoming, if my mind, which said right now is my enemy, starts becoming my friend. My own self right now, which does not cooperate with me, which comes in my way, itself becomes friend, becomes favorable to me, beneficial to me. And that's how it becomes a step in the direction of recognizing myself to be also free from all limitations. But it's obvious that people haven't ever thought about this, they are not exposed to this, and all they know is just the limited things in their life. All they see is that this world and the objects and the pleasures that this world has to offer, and they alone can become the objects of the desire. And this desire keeps on, makes him distracted from the very, very objective of his life, and therefore he goes round and round. Tam tam niyamastaya, to fulfill a desire, I worship a deity, to fulfill a desire, I do something. follow the various rules and regulations, my desire is fulfilled, other desire arises, and that process goes on. Lord Krishna says, yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktah shraddhaya architamikshati. That whoever worships any devata with shraddha, Lord Krishna says that I make the shraddha firm. And then the verse 22 says, Sataya shraddhaya yuktaha tasya radhanamihate labate cha tatah kaman mayaiva vihitan hitan. He who endowed with that faith, engaged in the worship of that devata, when we worship a devata in a proper manner, our desires are satisfied. The devata does bless us by satisfying our desire, and so we have further shraddha, and never we worship more, never further desire. That process goes on. We ask Lord Krishna, why don't you do? You see that this person is going wrong way. He is seeking a limited thing and doesn't realize what he wants, and so always goes round and round, seeking limited, getting limited, seeking limited, getting limited. Lord Krishna, I can't help it. He has to learn the lesson from his life. And I have made enough provision for the people to learn. First is the dharma, living a righteous way of life, living life of values. That will one day open up this person's mind. That will make him thinking. He can, from an active person, will become a thinking person. What is it that I'm doing in my life? Is there some goal in my life? Is there a purpose of this life? Is a life merely meant for desiring and fulfilling desires and getting pleasures and other desires and getting play? Is that what the life is meant for? When a person leads a righteous life, the mind becomes thinking. But until then, this process goes on. Until the mind becomes a thinking mind, until then, as the desires arise, they do what is necessary to fulfill their desire. Desire is fulfilled. In this case, the desire is fulfilled by worshipping a devata in those days. And a devata has to be worshipped in a specified manner, in a stipulated manner. And Lord Krishna says that devata also fulfills his desire and gives him the reward that he was seeking. Lord Krishna says, I am really giving the reward. I am the karmaphala data. I am the dispenser of all the results of the action. But outwardly looks like that devata is fulfilling the desire. Lord Krishna says, so he is a shraddha in that devata, and I maintain that shraddha. But then, now comes the next verse, verse number 23. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. See the translation of verse 23. But for those who have limited discrimination, the result is finite. The point is that whatever you achieve as a result of fulfilling a desire is going to be finite. To fulfill a desire, we perform an action, even action of worship. That action is limited, and therefore what you achieve as a result of fulfilling a desire also is going to be limited. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavati alpamedasam. Alpamedasam, of people of limited discrimination, limited thinking. Those who don't think, and though they worship, their desires are fulfilled, they worship, desires are fulfilled. But what is one thing that is common? That what they get is definitely antavat, meaning that it is limited, finite. They get only finite result. The action is finite, the desire is finite, action is finite, and the outcome is also finite. So this is a description of essentially most of human beings, in whose mind desires arise, those who perform appropriate actions to fulfill those desires, whose desires are fulfilled, but that what you get as a result of fulfilling a desire is limited. But people don't think. Antavattu phalam tesham tad bhavati alpamedasam. Or people are limited intellect. Unthinking people. The outcome comes, they're happy, another desire, that is satisfied, another desire, they never think. If they thought, then what would they find? The second line says, Devan devajo yanti mad bhaktaha yanti mamapi. Those who desire limited things get limited things. Those who desire limited entities, they attain limited entities as a result of fulfilling the desires. Mad bhaktaha yanti mamapi. On the other hand, if they wanted the limitless, Lord Krishna uses the word I here in the pronoun I in the sense of the Ishvara, the limitless. Mad bhaktaha yanti mamapi. My devotees will attain me. This is a very, very important statement. Devajah devanyanti. Those who worship devatas means limited entities. Attain the limited. Those who worship me, the limitless, Lord Krishna says, attain the limitless. But Swami, how can you attain limitless? What you attain always is limited. But then, slowly when the discrimination comes, when I do not justify my desires, when that sense comes that fulfilling desire does not end the desires, what is the desire behind all the desires is the limitless, which cannot be fulfilled by action. And thus the desiring person slowly turns into a thinking person, and his desire turns into desire for knowledge. If this happens, so that is the important transformation that has to take place. The person whose desire limited ends in life, if he gets the grace of Ishvara, then there is this insight in his life that what I am desiring is not a limited thing, what I am desiring is a limitless. The insight has to come. Some thinking, deliberation takes place on our life, and this insight comes when one enjoys grace of Ishvara. That comes when there is antakarana shuddhi, when one has led the life of dharma, when one has led the life of duty, led life of what? Life of a contributor in the world of Swamiji rather than a consumer. A consumer is the one who desires and fulfills the desires and enjoys the result of his desire, and other desires arise, he remains a consumer forever. A person who is desiring and does what is required to fulfill desire, he remains a desirer all the time, he remains a consumer whole life. If someday the thought comes that is not consuming that should be the way of life, it's contributing that should be the way of life. Because when he looks around and finds that in nature, The harmony is the nature of contribution, not nature of consumption. Everything in nature contributes. There is a mutual helping and help. The whole universe is in fact tied together by the spirit of helping and being helped. And of course, that's what the Vedas also teach. If that's how the life changes from one of a consumer to a contributor, then a day will come when you will start contemplating, thinking. Devan, devayajoyanti, mad bhaktaha, yanti amamapi. Those who desire the limited things will attain the limited. Those who desire me, the limitless, will attain limitless. But Swami, how can you attain limitless? What you attain is always limited. How can you attain limitless? That attainment will not be in a different way. That desire for consumption will slowly transform into desire for knowledge. That transformation has to take place, will take place. That's called Antakarana Shuddhi. As our mind becomes free from these ragadveshas, the nature of desire changes. The nature of desire depends upon the nature of mind. A tamasic mind will have one kind of desire, a rajasic mind will have another kind of desire, a sattvic mind will have a different desire. The nature of desire depends upon the nature of our mind. We cannot create a desire, but we can transform our mind. That's what Lord Krishna teaches all along, that when the ragadvesha, the mind is rajasic, tamasic, and when we live the life of a contributor, slowly sattva arises. The nature of desire also changes. Sattva sanjayate jnanam. In sattva, the desire for knowledge arises. My values change. What I like also keeps changing. It all gets transformed. Now there is a love for Ishvara, love for scriptures, love for learning. That happens in a sattvic mind. Devan, devayo janti, yajo yanti, madbhakta yanti mamapi. Those who worship devatas, limited things, worldly things, they attain those. Madbhaktaha, those who worship me, those who want me, they attain me. So this is a very important rule, that we attain what we want in our life. The human being has been given this potential that he can attain whatever he wants. But Swamiji, I want to be President of the United States. Can I attain that? What you are seeking is power, what you are seeking is fame, what you are seeking is wealth. You will attain it today or tomorrow. Keep on working after it. Whoever is the president right now had not become one, by just effort of one lifetime. It may have been a culmination of a lot of effort. And so if you want, you can become that. If not today, you will become tomorrow. If you should decide, is it worthwhile? The goal that is it a worthwhile goal to be devoted to be committed to? Or should you rather want to become free from the need of becoming? Is it not so? You become something, but then the becoming never ends. When you become something you find is inadequate, you become President of the United States, wonderful. Then the next need is, you must become a two-term president. This one-term president is nothing. As though he has not attained anything, it is one-term president. Incumbent upon you to become a two-term president. Thank God they don't allow more terms, otherwise they want to go on forever. Mad bhaktaha yanti mamapi. Someday when a person starts thinking. Although right now the environment is such that it does not encourage this kind of thinking. It is environment of go-getting, environment of pleasure and comfort. Environment, that is what, and that is how our children grow up in this environment. This is what they say, and that's what they aspire also. Children also aspire to be wealthy and powerful and famous, because that's what they find the whole world valuing, the society valuing. So these days, this has become more difficult. This environment to have a value for Ishvara, a value for, becoming limitless is something very rare. But it can be. Mat bhakta yanti mamapi. If there ever arises a desire that I want to be limitless, Lord Krishna says, that also you can attain. Bahunam janmanam, it may require a lot of effort, but certainly asthita sayukta atma, because he has now committed himself to that goal. He will keep on ascending to that goal, and today and tomorrow he will attain that goal. The question is asked here, thus worshipping Bhagavan gives a limitless result, then still why are people they are turned away from Ishvara? They are still turned towards only this worldly environment, worldly attainments. What is the reason? Because this Bhagavan is not recognized easily, and he has himself created this trap for us, by the way, as it will be said. So let us read the verse number 24. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mama buddhayah param bhavamajanantah mama vyayamanutamam. Abuddha, those who lack discrimination, param bhavam ajanantah, not knowing my limitless, changeless nature, anuttamam, beyond which there is nothing greater, manyante, look upon me as vyaktimapannam, as possessed of, attained of a manifest, limited form, even though I am limitless. So Lord Krishna says, I who am limitless is looked upon as a limited entity, not knowing my essential nature. Now this is again Lord Krishna's doing, not our doing. When Lord Krishna says, I am limitless, he's talking about as the self. Who is limitless? You and I are avyaktam. We are unmanifest, we are limitless. Vyaktimapannam, but we feel that we have become Vyakti or an individual self. The limitless self thinks that I am an individual limited being, which each one of us thinks. Abuddhaya, the unintelligent, so he calls us unintelligent people. We are called abuddhaya, unintelligent people. The unintelligent that we are, look upon ourselves as limited being, while in reality we happen to be limitless. The unmanifest or limitless that I am, I look upon myself as a limited being. Param bhavam ajanantah mama avyayam anuttamam, not knowing my ultimate nature, which is changeless, which is unsurpassable. Not knowing my changeless, limitless, and unsurpassable nature, I take myself to be a limited being. No, this is with all human beings. So here Lord Krishna says how we are born with this perception of being a limited self. Even though limitless we are in nature, we look upon ourselves as limited beings. The problem is here. See, just as on a stage, when an actor comes to a stage to perform a role, he must necessarily put on a costume. An actor cannot come as he is in his civil clothes or whatever they are. When he comes to the stage to perform a role, he must necessarily put on a costume. Is it not so? Similarly, Ishvara the limitless, when he comes to the stage of this world, he has to put on a costume. So you and I are there, those limitless, each one of us, who has come to the stage of this world. But then one requirement of coming to the stage is to put on a costume. So this costume is put on. What is the costume? The body, sense organs, mind, intellect, this personality is the costume that the person has put on. Who am I? I am the person. Functioning through this personality, for whom the body is a dwelling place, for whom sense organs are the means of contacting, interacting with the world, for whom the mind is the means of thinking, for whom the intellect is the means of knowing. So all this equipment is given to us, the infrastructure is given to us to function in this stage of life. Just as an actor comes to the stage with his costume, so also the limitless self has come to the stage with his costume. Because without costume, he cannot come to the stage and he cannot interact, he cannot perform any action. So that's fine. That is not the problem. That we have body is not the problem. We have sense organs, we have mind, we have intellect, is no problem. And they are given to us to live our life. So where is the problem? Is there a problem? Body is not the problem, mind is not the problem, intellect is not the problem. Where do you think is the problem? The costume is not the problem for the actor. If there is a problem, where is the problem, I am the costume. If he puts on the costume of beggar, is all right. That is privilege to act as a beggar. The problem is when he starts saying, I am the beggar, that is where the problem begins. So also on the stage of the world, we all have come with our wonderful costumes, so that we can live our life and interact with the world and live the life and enjoy the life. But where is the basic problem? The costume is taken to be I, identifying with the costume. In that case, that actor who is a billionaire thinks that I am a beggar. So problem is not beggar, I am the beggar. That's where the problem is. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mam abuddhaya. Lord Krishna says, I am avyakta. I am the limitless. Abuddhaya, but the people, non-thinking people, take me to be limited. The self or Atma who is limitless, that Atma has been given this costume of the body and the mind and sense organs and intellect for performing functions, for interacting with the world, for living the life. Abuddhaya. But the Atma abuddhi, meaning that one who doesn't have the buddhi or wrong buddhi identifies with the costume and takes himself to be a limited being. Param bhavam ajanantah mama avyam anuttamam. Not knowing param bhavam, my ultimate superior, ultimate nature, the name by which is avyayam, I who is changeless, anuttamam, unsurpassable, I am who is limitless. So this limitless self has come here on the stage of the world with this costume of the body, mind, sense complex. Not knowing that I am the Purusha, I am the person, I am the self in this costume. Abuddha, I take myself to be a Vyakti, a limited individual. Although limitedness is there, it is in the body, mind, sense complex, it is limited. The limitless takes that limited costume for functioning in the world. Like a billionaire actor puts on the costume of beggar just for performing his role. But when he takes himself to be the beggar, that's the problem. But why is it so? You are limitless, Swamiji, you are Lord, you are ourself, you are the limitless, you are what we are seeking to be, and we already are. How come we do not know you? So next verse is that. Naham prakashas sarvasya yoga maya samavrutah mudhoyam nabhijanati loko mamajam avyayam. Naham prakashas sarvasya. Lord Krishna says, nobody recognizes me. So ultimately problem is there. We do not recognize because he has put on a costume of Maya. He shows himself to be quite different from what he is. Lord Krishna says, I am the Atma, I am the Self, I am the limitless. Yoga Maya Samavritah, veiled by my Maya. And Maya is that which creates an appearance of what is not there. That's called Maya. You know the rope snake example where the rope is made to appear as a snake. And so also the limitless self is made to appear as a limited entity. Naham prakasha sarvasya, for nobody, whoever takes the birth here, nobody knows my true nature. Lord Krishna says, that is how I have done it. He calls us Abuddha. He says these unthinking people do not recognize my limitless. How can they recognize? Because they are born with ignorance. Samavrutah, very well veiled by ignorance, people do not recognize the true nature. Is one thing that they do not know something. The problem is we know that thing in a contrary way. Not only do we not know that we are limitless, we take ourselves to be limited beings. So this is where the problem is. Not only does not the actor know that I am a billionaire, he thinks that I am a beggar. This is called contrary knowledge. Thus, ignorance is not merely not knowing who I am, but then taking myself to be quite contrary to what I am. Avaranam and Vikshepa. These words you must have heard. Avarana and Vikshepa. Avarana, not knowing the true nature. Vikshepa, having the notion of taking myself to be contrary to what I am. So at the end, Lord Krishna reveals the basic problem. He kept on banging us all the time that you don't understand this and you're not thinking, wow, but this is what you have done. That we are born, first of all, not knowing what the true nature is, and secondly, taking ourselves contrary to what we are. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritah samyak avritah, very well veiled by my yogamaya. See, maya is that it creates appearance of what is not there. That's called maya. What is maya? Creates an appearance of what is not there. And for that, Vedanta gives the standard example of rope snake. Creates an appearance of snake where in fact there is a rope. So here also creates the appearance of a limited being where in fact there is the limitless. This is opposite thing though. The rope snake is taking snake that is quite contrary to rope in opposite, but here the limitless is taken to be a limited entity. Mudhoyam nabijanati lokomam ajamavyayam ayam mudaha lokaha. Mudha is deluded, called vikshepa. First is avaranam, second is vikshepa. First not knowing what my true nature is, second is taking myself to be contrary to what I am. Mam, ajam, avyayam. Lord Krishna is here talking from the standpoint of our own self. Ajam, I am unborn, birthless. Avyayam, I am unchanging, deathless. The birthless, the deathless, the changeless, the limitless that I am. Mudaha, this individual, he is who is deluded, na vijanati, does not see me, does not recognize me in my true nature. Because yoga maya samavritah, Lord Krishna says, I am veiled by my maya, by the darkness of ignorance, because of which I am taken to be contrary to what I am. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam. So who is avyakta, who is limitless, is thought to be a limited entity. Manyante mam abuddhaya, abuddhaya, the unintelligent people, the thoughtless people. Lord Krishna calls it abuddhaya, And so, these non-thinking idiots, mudha, deluded. So how does Lord Krishna expect us? We are born with this delusion of taking the self that is limitless to be limited. And now we are put on a trip and then we are said, all right, now you yourself solve this problem. So, this, we are put on the wrong trip. And then we are told, you solve this mystery. Who caused the mystery? He caused the mystery. Why are we ignorant? Because that's how he is meant to be. Why do we take ourselves to be opposite, contrary to what we are? That's the scheme of things. What do we have to do? Now we have to change, we have to struggle through this ignorance and all wrong notions and come to know our true nature. That is the agenda that is given to us. This is a way of describing. Lord Krishna describes it in this manner. We don't have to really think that he has done this or not done this. But what is there in our life is described in this manner. And who else can do it? That's why Lord Krishna takes the ownership of that. But not that Ishvara has done this or not. But as though Bhagavan alone has done all this, that we are birthless, changeless, limitless. And somehow, from the birth itself, we take ourselves to be born, limited, changing, quite contrary to what we truly are. And now our job is to reverse that whole process. That's why Bahunam Janmanante, that process takes quite a long time to undo what has been done. This unlearn what we have learned in ignorance. And that is how the whole scheme is told here in Bhagavad Gita. First stage is Karma Yoga, second stage is Jnana Yoga, in both of which bhakti is involved. And that is how you have to wade through this whole situation and reach our goal. So, in the 7th chapter, thus, Lord Krishna gives us very important lesson here of what the basic problem is in our life, is how ignorance is the basic problem. How ignorance causes contrary notion or contrary, what you call moha or delusion or wrong conclusion, false notions. We are born with ignorance and false notions about our own self, and that gives us all kinds of wrong thinking, and therefore we wrong values, and therefore we see happiness where it is not, we fail to see happiness where it is, and that's how the desires arise. We keep on performing actions, and thus we are always in this trip. But fortunately, the Lord also teaches through scriptures how to live a virtuous life. And we live a life of dharma, and progressively our mind will open up. This insight will come to us, and we will be on the right path. So that path is very much there, open to us. So this is a way of describing here how Lord Krishna as though takes the agency that I am the one who is not known to you, I am the one who does not reveal myself to you, and that everybody is deluded, etc., is a way of describing the basic human problem of avarana and vikshepa, not knowing the truth and knowing the truth herself in a contrary way. We'll take a break here and continue in the next session. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Kratau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.